The village was silent. A blanket of fog hugged the crumbling stone houses. The moon, a pale eye in the sky, cast long, eerie shadows. Wind whistled through the empty windows like a mournful sigh. It was a place forgotten by time, swallowed by shadows and secrets. No one dared to speak its name. They called it only the Village of Whispers. The traveller stumbled upon it just after midnight. His horse, spooked by the oppressive silence, snorted and refused to take another step. He dismounted, the ground soft and damp beneath his feet. A shiver ran down his spine. He felt a presence here, something unseen, watching him from the darkness. He needed shelter. The wind bit at his skin and the fog seemed to seep into his bones. Up ahead he saw it, a house larger than the others, its silhouette stark against the moonlit sky. It was dilapidated, its windows boarded shut, but it offered a roof and walls. It was better than nothing. As he approached, the door creaked open as if beckoning him inside. He hesitated. A sudden gust of wind sent a shiver down his spine. He had a bad feeling about this. He told himself it was just the wind, the natural unease of a weary traveller in a strange place. Taking a deep breath, he stepped inside. The air inside was thick with the smell of dust and decay. It was as if time had stopped in this forsaken place, leaving behind only the remnants of what once was. The walls, once vibrant with life, now stood as silent witnesses to the passage of time, their surfaces marred by the relentless march of neglect. Cobwebs hung from every corner, intricate webs spun by generations of spiders that had made this place their home. The delicate threads glistened faintly in the dim light, a testament to the persistence of life even in the most desolate of places. The only light came from the moon, filtering through cracks in the boarded windows. The silvery beams of moonlight cast eerie patterns on the floor, illuminating the dust particles that danced in the air like tiny spectres. He struck a tinder and lit a candle, the small flame flickering to life and casting a warm golden glow in the otherwise cold and lifeless room. The candlelight seemed to push back the shadows, but only just. The flickering flame cast dancing shadows on the walls, creating an almost hypnotic effect. The shadows seemed to move with a life of their own, twisting and turning in a silent dance that was both mesmerizing and unsettling. As his eyes adjusted to the darkness, he noticed something in the corner of the room. At first it was just a vague shape, a darker patch in the already dim surroundings. But as he stared, the shape began to take form. It was a cat, a sleek black creature with eyes that glowed like embers in the dim light. The cat's fur was so dark it seemed to absorb the light around it, making its glowing eyes stand out even more. It sat there, unmoving, its gaze fixed on him with an unnerving intensity. The cat's eyes seemed to hold a depth of knowledge, as if it could see into the very core of his being. He tried to shoo it away, waving his hand and making noises to startle it, but it didn't budge. The cat remained still, its eyes never leaving his, as if it were challenging him to make the next move. It remained there, watching him, those glowing eyes seeming to bore into his soul. The intensity of its gaze was almost too much to bear, and he felt a shiver run down his spine. What was this creature, and why did it feel so otherworldly? He found a room upstairs that was relatively free of dust and cobwebs. He collapsed onto the musty mattress, exhausted from his journey. Sleep, however, proved elusive. He couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The image of those glowing red eyes seared into his mind. Then he heard it, a scratching sound coming from just beyond his door. It started softly, then grew louder, more insistent. He sat up in bed, his heart pounding in his chest. Someone or something was out there. He reached for his knife, his hand trembling. He threw open the door, but there was nothing there. Only the hallway, shrouded in shadows, stretched out before him. He could have sworn he had heard something moving just beyond the reach of the candlelight. He stepped into the hallway, his senses on high alert. That's when he heard the whispers. They slithered around him, soft and indistinct, like the rustling of dead leaves. They seemed to come from the very walls themselves, whispering his name, beckoning him deeper into the darkness. He backed away, fear gripping his throat like an icy hand. Section 6. The Legend of Ragnar Meow. He had to get out of this house. The air was thick with an oppressive silence, broken only by the occasional creak of the old wooden floors. Every shadow seemed to move, every whisper seemed to call his name, urging him to stay, to uncover the secrets hidden within these ancient walls. He stumbled down the stairs, desperate to escape the whispers and the shadows that seemed to press in on him from all sides. His heart pounded in his chest, each beat echoing in the silent, darkened house. The walls seemed to close in on him, the air growing colder with each step he took. He could feel the presence of something ancient and malevolent watching him, waiting for him to make a mistake. As he passed by a dusty bookshelf, a leather-bound book caught his eye. It was unlike any other book on the shelf, its cover adorned with strange symbols and intricate designs. He felt an inexplicable pull towards it, as if the book itself was calling out to him, begging to be opened. He brushed off the dust and opened it. The pages crackled under his fingers, releasing a faint, musty smell that filled the air. The book seemed to hum with a strange energy, the symbols on the pages glowing faintly in the dim light. The pages were filled with faded ink and strange symbols. Some of the symbols seemed to shift and change as he looked at them, their meanings just out of reach. He could feel the power emanating from the book, a dark and ancient magic that sent shivers down his spine. He recognized some of them from the glowing eyes of the black cat. The cat had been following him since he entered the house, its eyes glowing with an unnatural light. It seemed to be a guardian of the book, watching over it and ensuring that its secrets remained hidden. He began to read, his blood turning to ice with every word. The book told of a creature of darkness, a guardian bound to the village by an ancient curse. The more he read, the more he felt the weight of the curse pressing down on him, the darkness closing in around him. It was the legend of Meow, a creature of darkness bound to the village as a guardian. The village had once been a place of light and joy, but the curse had plunged it into an eternal night, the villagers living in fear of the creature that watched over them. It spoke of a ritual gone wrong, a curse that had plunged the village into an eternal night. The villagers had tried to summon a guardian to protect them, but something had gone terribly wrong. Instead of a protector, they had summoned a creature of darkness, a being of immense power and malevolence. The book warned of the cat's power, its ability to weave illusions and command the shadows themselves. It could bend reality to its will, creating nightmares that seemed all too real. The villagers had tried to fight back, but their efforts were in vain. The cat's power was too great, its control over the shadows too complete. The legend of Meow was a tale of darkness and despair, a warning to all who dared to challenge the ancient magic that bound the village. Section 7. The Ritual Chamber. He slammed the book shut, his heart pounding in his chest. The whispers seemed to grow louder, more insistent, urging him onward. He had to break the curse, to free the village from Meow's grasp. He had to find the ritual chamber. He followed the whispers, his footsteps echoing through the silent house. They led him down a hidden staircase, deep beneath the earth. The air grew heavy, thick with the smell of damp earth, and something ancient and unholy. He emerged into a large circular chamber. Torches flickered to life, casting long shadows on the stone walls. Section 8. Trapped. In the centre of the chamber he saw it, a stone altar etched with the same swirling symbols he had seen in the cat's eyes and the ancient book. And standing before it, its sleek black fur blending into the shadows, was Meow, its glowing red eyes fixed on him with an unholy intensity. He tried to back away, but it was too late. The floor beneath him erupted in a blinding flash of light. When he could see again, he was trapped. A circle of flickering torches surrounded him, their flames burning an unnatural green. Whispering shadows writhed and coiled just beyond the light, their forms shifting and changing like smoke on the wind. Section 9. Guardian of the Threshold. Meow padded towards him, its every movement filled with an unnerving grace. The cat's eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, casting eerie reflections on the walls. Each step it took seemed to echo in the silence, amplifying the tension in the air. The man could feel his heart pounding in his chest, a drumbeat of fear that matched the rhythm of the cat's approach. The whispers grew louder, swirling around him like a vortex of despair. They seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, filling his mind with a cacophony of voices. Each whisper carried a fragment of a forgotten tale, a piece of a dark history that had been buried for centuries. The man tried to shut them out, but they were relentless, seeping into his very soul. He was trapped, caught in a prison of shadows and whispers, with a creature of darkness standing between him and escape. The shadows seemed to have a life of their own, shifting and twisting around him, forming grotesque shapes that danced in the periphery of his vision. The creature, Ragnar Meow, was no ordinary cat. It was a guardian, a sentinel of the threshold between the living and the dead. He had stumbled into something ancient and evil, something that had haunted this village for centuries. The village itself seemed to be alive, its old crumbling buildings whispering secrets of a dark past. Every corner, every shadow held a story of terror and despair. The man realized that he was not just fighting for his own survival, but for the soul of the village as well. Ragnar Meow, the guardian of the threshold. Its eyes glowed brighter, as if feeding off the fear that permeated the air. The cat was a symbol of the curse that had plagued the village, a curse that had claimed countless lives over the centuries. It was both a protector and a harbinger of doom, a creature that existed to maintain the balance between light and darkness. He was not the first to become ensnared in its web of shadows, and he knew with a chilling certainty that he would not be the last. The whispers told tales of others who had come before him, brave souls who had tried to break the curse and failed. Their spirits lingered in the shadows, trapped in an eternal limbo, their voices joining the chorus of despair. The only question that remained was whether he would become another victim of the curse, or find a way to break free from its grasp. He knew that the key to his survival lay in understanding the nature of the curse, in unravelling the mysteries that surrounded Ragnar Meow and the village. It was a race against time, a battle of wits and courage against an ancient evil. The fate of the village and his own soul hung in the balance. He took a deep breath, steeling himself for the challenge ahead. The whispers grew louder. The shadows closed in, and Ragnar Meow's eyes glowed with an intensity that seemed to pierce his very soul. He knew that the path to freedom would not be easy, but he was determined to fight, to break the curse and save the village from its dark fate.